All right, friends, welcome to our conference tonight. The theme of our conference tonight is singles and personal developments. And our facilitator or speaker is Mr. Peter Mba. Mr. Peter Mba is going to speak to us for 13 minutes, after which we shall have interactive section. I join us to pay attention. We can get paper and pen close to us and put something down, what will help you to make your own sharing the time of sharing. Without wasting much time, I now invite our speaker, Mr. Peter Mba, to begin the presentation this night. Mr. Peter, you are welcome.
All right, thank you, Father. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to be in our midst this day, this night, and to be here in the Catholic Single Forum. As Father has said, our topic tonight is singles and personal development. This is a topic that is very dear to me, so dear to me because of the need, the necessity of this topic to us as to every individual, because development is what everyone needs so long as we are alive or continue to grow and develop. So we'll begin by looking at what personal development is. So I define personal development as the ongoing process of self-discovery, self-improvement, focusing on enhancing one's skills, knowledge, and mindset to achieve personal goals and increase overall well-being. Yes, self-discovery is important to me, and self-improvement, because it will be difficult to develop the self or the personality you have not discovered. And then we will look closely to that as we continue. So it is an ongoing process, because as long as we are alive and living here, there is always need for growth in our lives, because we don't jump into success, we grow into success. Anyone who jumps into success, into any jump into success, will definitely, the force of gravity and the law of gravity will bring the person down. But when you grow into success, you stay up, you stay in success. Why? Because the process of growth, it is the process of growth that builds in us the capacity for sustainability. The process of growth, what we go through, in growing is what keeps us, is what sustains us at the point of success. As equally, we know that success is simply a passage, not an end. So succeeding at one point gives us room to continually succeed into every other thing we do. So going forward, I would like us to consider what I call three phases of life. Three phases of life. This is important for us so that we'll be able to trace where at one point do we begin development from, and how would that help us. So there are three phases of life. Number one is what I call discovery and learning phase. Discovery and learning phase. Some call it mourning phase, and then it is the fundamental and foundational stage of life. It is fundamental and foundational stage of life. It is from 0 to 25 years. 0 to 25 years. And this is a level of life where everything that happens to one within this stage of life lives with the person for the rest of the person's life. Whatever that happens to anyone within this stage of life, within this phase of life, will likely remain with the person for the rest of the person's life. Whatever character, whatever behavior, whatever attitude, whatever personality one adopts at this stage of life remain for the rest of the person's life. It is important to discuss this phase. Why? Because I know there may be likely some of us here who are parents already, and those also who are to be parents. So this is important for us so that we know should get to start having our children and how we can help them become what they should be. We are also coming to this point because what we call personal development is strange to so many persons, why, especially in our church Catholic. Why? Because so many of our youth don't give so much attention to self or personal development. Why? Because we have grown up, depending on people, depending on uncle, depending on auntie, praying for divine favor, praying for prosperity, looking for help here, looking for help there, blaming God, blaming Satan on our condition and situation, blaming politicians, blaming economy, why we don't progress, why we don't succeed. But beyond that, I think our problem or what we need is far beyond some of the whole things that we lay blame on. So on discovery and learning stage of life, there are essential educations. We call it learning stage or discovery phase because it's a stage of learning. And I say it's from 0 to 25 years. And one of these essential education we should know and have at this stage that helps a child to develop and grow into what God has destined this child. Firstly, is what I call basic education. Basic education. A child who is born, at this from 0 years, start learning, the parents' language, what we call mother tongue, and learning the behavior, values, spiritualities of the parents, of the family, of the environment, child's environment. And the child start learning how to talk. And part of those basic education is how to, of course, speak, and the language within the environment, how to read, how to write, how to do simple, mathematics. So these are basic education the child needs that develops thinking and reasoning capacity of the child, that help the child to bring forth that which is within the child. Then the second one is what we call spiritual education. So spiritual education is essential at the discovery and learning stage. And this is, as a Catholic, a child is supposed to have been baptized, confirmed, and receive other necessary sacraments. And then beyond that, that is essential that within this phase of life, one should be able to have had a personal encounter with God, personal experience with God. Why? Because beyond just being a religious Christian, it's also essential we become a spiritual Christian. Why? Because it helps us that a lot about our life, that a lot about us we may not necessarily know. That is what we call manufacturer's manual. In book of Genesis, chapter 1 and chapter 2, the Bible gave us details of human creations, how we were created. And from Genesis chapter 1 and 26, we see how God made man. And God said, let us make man in our image. And he began the process of these creations. So, and there are a lot in us that divine embodiment, innate abilities in us we cannot necessarily find until we find Christ, until we find God. Certain level of closeness to God bring forth, that which God has embedded in us. I remember in Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, God was speaking to Jeremiah, before you were born, I knew you. While you are in the mother's womb, I have ordained you a prophet. So there are a lot of giftings or potentials in us we may not necessarily find out or get to know until we have certain level of closeness, certain level of encounter, certain level of experience with God, will enable you by revelations or by several other means God pleases to let you know these are abilities he has, embedded in us. I remember someone like Joseph. Joseph had a dream of his own, becoming a king and ruling his siblings, ruling his fathers and mothers and siblings. So there are a lot in us that are our vocations or that areas of our lives that your closeness with God, your encounter with God opens you up to the reality of your person. the reality of what God has called us to be. And that is why spiritual education is important, not just being a sacramental Catholic, but also being a child of God who has truly met Christ, found God, and have a reason why you are a Christian. Then number 3 of this education, what I call personal education or self-discovery or potential discovery. You see, while we have an encounter, while we grow as Christians or as children within this phase of life, we begin to discover a lot of abilities within us. And as a part of education, and I continue to say that one of the major destroyers of destinies, potentials in Africa or in Nigeria, so to say, is Nigeria formal education, the system of education in Nigeria. Why? Because the system of education we have run in this part of the world are not individual centered. Are not individual centered. Why? Because you go to schools and universities, you have over 500 students in the class learning sociology and anthropology. I study philosophy actually. So, and then, teaching 200 something persons a particular course, knowing that each and every one of these individuals are unique in person and they have different uniqueness, different potential, different abilities. So system of education we run in Africa, in Nigeria, does not help one in betting that which is within the individual. By studies, I get to learn that the education came from Latin word educare. Educare means to bet or to bring forth that which is within us. So every form of education that we've been through that has failed to expose that which is lying within us has failed its purpose, has lost its purpose. So by every nature, every form of education we go to should be able to bet that which is lying within us. Why? Because we have a lot of persons in different vocations, in different careers, in different businesses, who are not fulfilled, who are not satisfied, who are not comfortable, who don't enjoy what they do. Maybe they are just simply there because of what they get. But in the actual sense of it, one should be able to, do what you enjoy doing and be satisfied in what you do. If you are doing what is, is within you as an individual. So personal education helps you to bet that is which is within us. Help you to discover that is what is lying, inside of us. Those potentials, those talents, those, all of innate abilities God has given us. Statistics have stated that out of those who have so much used their potentials and their abilities have only used 10% of their ability God has given them. So there are a lot in us we have not touched, we have not used, there are untapped resources, untapped potentials in us that God too expects us to discover those abilities and then be able to make use of them. In all honesty, that no one should be stranded on earth by the level of the potentials and ability God has given us. We should be able to live a fulfilled and satisfied life doing what we have been called, to do. So, and that is the third forms of education. Then the fourth one is professional education. Professional education is building capacity. This is where development comes in. This process is important because having discovered your abilities, having discovered your talent, having discovered those potentials, it is not enough that we have discovered them. We need to build skills around them. We need to build skills around them. We need to build capacity around them. That they will not work for you simply because you have discovered them. They can only work for you because of how well you are using them, how well you have developed them. There are a lot of persons who sing in Nigeria or in Africa, but if you come to gospel music industry in Nigeria, we only hear about few individuals who have been able to prepare themselves, who have been able to develop themselves, and they are taking the center stage, of music industry. gospel music industry in Nigeria. Why? Because it's not just about gifting. There are a lot of persons who are highly gifted. When you see them do what they do, they are gifted, but you see they are stunted in their growth. Why? Because certain level of development, their gifting needs to be able to excel has not been given to it. So in professional education, one needs to enroll. If I discover that I am supposed to be a medical doctor, for instance, maybe during my basic education into personal education, I should be able to discover what is my passion and drive and be able to give it the wings to fly, to be able to give it the wings they fly. Why? Because so that the potential will be able to, grow and attain the heights, it should, attain. Then, so this is where development comes into play. So you pay every price your potentials needs to grow. You pay every price, whatever it will take, whatever it will cost you, whatever you can get the knowledge, you can get the skills, you can get, whatever price your potential needs to grow. This is what professional education, can do for us in a learning and discovery phase of life. Then the fifth one is financial education. Financial education is important. It's not just about knowing about money. There are what we call 3 M's in money. One is making money. 2 is managing money. 3 is multiplying money. You see, financial literacy has become very essential in the lives of Christians. Why? Because a lot of us ignore that it doesn't matter, but this is where the basis is. Most of the times, the level of one's success in life does not depend on how much you make, but how much you're able to manage what you make. And gaining knowledge and discipline, you need to curtail your resources and your finances is essential that we cannot be overemphasized. And I'm honestly pleased to further because this particular financial education is essential in the life of every youth. Why? Because I've seen a lot of young people who say they want to get married and settle down, once and for all. They want to leave their family and, get married and settle down. And I begin to wonder if marriage has become a poverty alleviation, that once you are married, you are out of, hardship and difficulties. And I've continued to say that, see, in marriage, no party completes the other. What we do in marriage is complement. The other complements the other. That is why building and developing yourself in these areas helps one to be able to live, a fulfilled and a satisfied life. So financial education is essential, at this stage of life. Those who fail to, gain essential knowledge on finance will almost struggle in their lives. Why? Because a lot of us were not taught how to make money. It was not even taught in schools. We are not taught how to manage money. Even in families, we are not taught. So generally, we grow up spending. So majority of people are addicted to spending. So as money is entering into your hands, you are spending it. So many cry that the money is not enough in their hands. It's not that money they receive is not enough. It's because they have not learned and gained, knowledge in the area of finance. And if we have not learned to manage the little that comes into our hands, even if billions start coming, we won't still be able to manage it. So, and the last I will say here is socio-cultural, political, education. This is also another aspect of it that has, kept our country, Nigeria, the way it is. Speaking from a Nigeria experience. Why? Because we have a lot of individuals who have good plans, who have good morals, who have good values, that possibly when they occupy certain political positions, they will be able to do well. But you see a lot of them not getting involved. Why? Because they feel politics is a dirty game. as Chizoba said earlier when we were beginning, that she did not vote because election is the INEC politics. So this mindset, this attitude, this all of that has limited the growth of both the society and the individuals. So gaining knowledge on this area helps us as an individual to be able to be stable. So one who has gained this level of knowledge at this discovery and the learning phase of life will help you to be prepared for life, to prepared as an individual. One, at least you have had basic education. Two, you have had basic level of spiritual knowledge and encounter. You have had a personal discovery, and truly you pursue a career because this is a drive in you. This is a passion in you. This is you want to live and fulfill. You want to see yourself becoming this or that. So this is what we call a primary, fundamental level of our lives. So the other phase is what we call earning stage. Earning stage. That is a phase 2. It's called earning stage. At this level of life, we have gained basic knowledge of life. We have gained basic knowledge of our careers, of our businesses. We have known what it means to create values. We have known what it means to, to live lives and be able to make impact in society. Then we'll be able to deploy that which knowledge we have gained at discovery and learning stage into this level and be able to be useful to the society and useful to ourselves. Now, I know you would ask me, what about those who are above 25 years already? So what would they do? Does it mean they are not part of what we are talking about? Not at all. A lot of us personally, when I begin to dive into the area of personal development, I was already above 25 years. I think it was after my first degree, during my master's program in UNN. So I attended the program in Lagos, leadership program in Lagos. And after that, I came back and told my lecturer in University of Nigeria that I'm not going to continue with a master's. I was doing master's in moral philosophy. And I told him I want to go and pursue, my life, that I have a yearning and a longing in my heart. And I feel I want to, pursue it and give it time it needs to be able to. So I abandoned my master's and I went in pursuit of my career, which I know we are still in need of it. So for all of us who possibly may have not discovered these areas, or possibly gone through this process, in life, what do we do? The truth is that potentials they are not dumb. Abilities, innate abilities are not always quiet. They always speak every now and then. That each time you sit or do whatever you do, you see that there are a lot of things speaking inside of you. Potentials and ability in you, they are speaking and crying for a release. So you need to give them wings to fly. So even if you are in a different career and or a different business and what you do currently does not align to the yearning of your heart, it is important we pay attention to that which is crying within us. Why? Because it was Mans Morio who wrote and said that the wildest place on earth is this the graveyard. That the graveyard is the wildest place on earth. Why? Because in the graveyard lies potentials, lies innate abilities, lies ideas, talents that were never touched, that were never used, and they died with it. And I wrote this evening that the greatest tragedy of man on earth is to die, carrying your potentials, your God-given potentials. So if we discover that the areas of our lives, pursuit of our lives, where we are, business we do, even though we may be making money, but deep down our heart, something that the yelling in us that is speaking for a release, is essential you pay attention to it. Why? Because until you give attention to your innate abilities, you may not gain the fulfillment a satisfaction you want from life. Why? Because it is easier to excel when you discover your place, when you walk according to your abilities. Why? How? Because fish does not struggle to swim in the river. It does not struggle to survive in the river. So when you are in a place where you are meant to be, it is easier. It is faster. You feel comfortable. Even you do some things as a hobby, your job or your career can become what we call a hobby, and you will excel and succeed more in them because you do what you enjoy and love doing. So it's important we pay attention to that which is within us. At every level we are right now, we need to pay attention to what we do. Are you doing it simply because Nigeria jammed you into a particular course, or somebody suggested to you do this and do that and you'll be fine? And even while you are doing it, deep down you know that this is where you don't supposed to be. So if that is the level and the point we are, it is good that you look within you, look inside of you, look deep down inside of us. What is it that speaks inside of us? What is the yelling? What is the longing? What is the passion, we'll have? And how do we give those passion, wings to fly? The other is build skills around your talents. Essentially, you build skills. So when you discover those yellings, those innate abilities, it is important you build skills, you develop them. And when I discovered that I enjoy speaking, I enjoy talking, I know that I have to give much attention to study. I have to give much attention to trainings, to programs, to events, and I've been paying all I can to be able to grow and develop. So it is essential you give attention, and build skills, build capacity around those talents of yours. Then invest in your mind. You see, mental transformation is essential at every level we are. The truth is that you can never outgrow your mindset. Even if you are in business, no business can outgrow the owner. No business can outgrow the owner. So the extent of your mental transformation, the extent of your mental development determines how far you go in life. There are a lot of persons who, Nigeria and the level of our religiosity, has kept so many. Every day we are praying in the church, night vigil and all of, as beautiful as those prayers are. But the truth is that I continually say that a lot of things we ask God for is no longer within God to do. It is within us to do. And what has restricted a lot of us from growth is nothing more than our mental capacity. The level of what we know in every business, what sex why in every business, in every industry, some are succeeding and some are not succeeding. There are what those who are succeeding know that those who don't succeed don't know. So it is always important we build our mind, we develop our mind, we feel our mind. Why? Because it's the hub of our lives. It's the hub of our lives. So mental transformation is important as long as we are talking about personal development, because your mind remains your central processing unit. So learn. The other also number 4 is what I call learn personal branding.
5 minutes more.
Branding. All right, learn personal branding. So personal branding has to do with both personal and time management. How do you manage your time? When you keep appointments, what time do you attend to? What is the level? What do you understand about time and personal management? What about trust and integrity? Can people trust you? How much can people trust you? So, and I will continually say that see, trust is like a capital. So whatever money can buy, trust and the integrity can at the same time, deliver it to you. So in personal development is essential. We pay attention to developing good character and being a trustworthy person. Also considering how will I appear, as it is always said, that the way you dress is the way you will be addressed. So there are a whole lot people look at, when they look at you, your physical appearance and all of that. So it must also be part of what we call personal branding in our life. So that is it. The other is a build relevant relationship. Number 5 is build a relevant relationship. Now, relationship is important into our lives. I always say that the 5 or 6 closest person in your life determine how far you go in life. The 5 or 6 most closest person around you determines how far you go in life. So when you consider the closest persons, 5 closest persons around you, look at them very well. As you are seeing them, you are seeing your future, because you may never grow, you may never succeed beyond the circle of your friends. It is always said that your network determines your net worth. So consider your friends, consider your relationship, and take time building a relationship, relevant relationship. And it is like investment. So you invest in relationships. So try and invest in quality relationship. Then also get a mentor. The final one, get a mentor. See, one thing mentorship help us to do is go faster in life. Whoever standing as a mentor in your life helps you to skate through that the mistake and the hurdles you pass through in life. You as an individual definitely will never pass through the same hurdle. So when we do this as an individual, it helps us to grow and build our lives and develop our lives, our personality to the heights that we can be enviable and make impact in society as God, and become especially that which God has destined us to be. So at this point, I would want to say thank you for your time, and may God bless you.
Thank you so much, friends. Please let us give Mr. Peter Mba a round of applause. Wherever you are, make a noise. Wherever you are, make a reaction towards that beautiful presentation. Give me a round of applause. You can even send an emoji of flower or anything. Let us react to that wonderful presentation. I can see Chinwe Okoye, thank you, thank you. Chijioke Onyekwe, thank you. Mr. Dobiro, thank you. Let's hear others. Please make a reaction. React. I want to see a beautiful reaction coming from all of us for that excellent presentation. I can see Zikora Okoye, thank you. Terenda, God bless you. Wow, wow. Thank you, Mr. Peter. Chicken a blessing, God bless you. Mr. Innocent said great. Wow. I am highly impressed with this beautiful presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Pitamba, for that amazing presentation. Now, before I invite our participants to ask questions or make contribution, I just want to highlight the few points that our presenter made towards the end of his presentation. He said that the 5 or 6 closest persons around you determine how far you will go in life. That is very striking. Point number 1. The second striking point he made is that your network determines your net worth. Point number 3, invest in quality relationship. And the final striking point is that everyone should get a mentor. Mentor helps you to go faster in life. These points he made toward the end of his presentation are very fascinating for me, very striking. Before I invite us to speak to, I just want to highlight a few other points on the whole topic, singles and personal development. I want to highlight 3 domains which every young person should pay attention to. The first domain is the moral domain. every young person should make an effort to build character. Build character. They say that a good reputation is like a line drawn on a rock that will never be erased. This is an African proverb, and it makes sense when you reflect on it deeper. That good, that a good reputation is like a line drawn on a rock that can never be erased. And the scripture tells us that good reputation is more valuable than gold. So as a young person, try to build good reputation. Where you are working, where you live, where you are schooling, have a good reputation. When you pass, people say, ah, look at that girl, she has a good character. And when someone is even looking for a spouse, someone else can recommend the person to you. See that person from this family, you see that young man, he or she has a good character. That is what reputation can do. So build a good reputation. Have respect towards people. Many young people today think that they have arrived, so they don't even show respect to a stranger. That is what we see in the society. Okay? Then have good relationship. The speaker pointed that out. Good relationship, not just relationship. Have a healthy relationship. By healthy relationship, we mean a relationship that is based on morals, a relationship that is based on Christian ideal, not any kind of friendship or relationship. The relationship that will make you to become a better person. The second domain I want to highlight more is the spiritual domain, which consists of prayer life, receiving the sacraments. Every young person should be a prayerful person. If you have everything in life and you do not have God, you have nothing. It, it is when you are young that you are supposed to build that good relationship with God, not when you get old. You now say, okay, I have enjoyed life, let me start looking for God. No. If you begin to develop a good relationship with your God at an early stage in life, especially when you are growing up, you will see that that relationship will help you to become better. It will shape your future. It will shape your destiny. Be a sacramental Christian. Be a sacramental Christian in the sense that you received Holy Eucharist, that you receive communion, go to confession. It will help shape your spiritual life and help you become a better person in future. The last point is the financial domain, which includes investing in yourself, taking your work seriously, trying to earn money and not to be over dependent on your parents or a friend or any other person. These are the few points I wish to highlight, and I want us to reflect on them and in the context of the presentation made by Mr. Peter. At this point, without wasting much time, I now invite us to interact. Let us interact. We have few minutes for interactive session. I would wish if many of us would be able to speak out their mind. Let's hear your own point of view. If you have a question, ask. Let's make it interactive. If you have something to say, please raise your hand. I will give you opportunity to speak. It could be a comment. It could be a question. It could be your own point of view towards the topic singles and personal development. Then share with us the striking points from the presentation today. What for you is very striking? What did you consider striking from the presentation? Let's hear you. I do not expect us to be quiet, to be silent. As young people, we should be lively. Okay? All right. I want to see I want to see our reactions. If you wish, you can put it on the chat. Maybe you don't want to speak. You can put it on the chat, I will read it out. You can put your question on the chat, I will read it out. Or if you want to speak, you raise your hand, I will give you opportunity. As I wait for participants to ask, there is a question I want to ask. Our speaker can respond to it. Any other person can also respond. There's a question that says that in a relationship whereby one partner is not allowing the other to develop himself or herself, what can be done? I take it again. In a relationship whereby one partner is not allowing the other to develop himself or herself, what can be done? Example, two people are planning to marry. I mean, they are in a relationship which they intend that will lead to marriage. And the other person has the gifts, the talents of being a good singer. She wants to be a musician, or the other person wants to be a footballer and all of that. Making efforts, training and all of that to become a good singer or to become a good footballer. And the other person doesn't want that. And the relationship is becoming rusty. The relationship is no longer healthy as it ought to be. The question is, in such a situation, what can the person do? Will you compromise your talents, your gifts, in order to make the other person happy, or will you just walk away? In other words, can one continue to develop his talents or her talents in the midst of unhealthy relationships? And that's just a way we can understand that. That's a question that I'm just throwing to us. We can respond to that, but before we respond
Can I?
to this question, Mr. Peter, before you respond to that, let me reiterate once again, friends. I expect us to ask questions. I don't expect us to listen to this excellent presentation and we keep quiet. If you don't have a question to ask, you can tell us the points that are key to you. I mean, that struck you more. The points that touch you the most. You can share with us if you don't have a question to ask. Okay. All right, Mr. Peter, you can go ahead and respond.
All right. If you
Your network is bad. Mr. Peter, you're having bad network. Mr. Peter, your network is bad. See if you can, maybe you can log off and log in again to see if it get better. We can't hear you. Somebody responded, that's from Derinda, that the person should pray about it first, and if nothing changes, he or she can walk out of the relationship. Okay, that is coming from Derinda. That the first thing the person should do is to put it in prayer. If after putting it in prayer and nothing changes, the person can call it a quits. Okay, thank you for your response, Terenda. Let's get interaction from others.
Okay, Father, can I respond to that, your question?
Please do, please do.
Okay, good evening, everyone. One thing with God-given talent is that there are some things that God gives to us. One, for us to find fulfillment in. Two, to support humanity. And the third one is to serve God. So anybody that is trying to hinder you from living out your life purpose shouldn't be in your life in the first place. So that's why we encourage the young ones, one, to define your purpose in life at that young age, because most times people misuse their youthful age. They do a lot of things. You see people living their youthful age without purpose. Some youths now, when you call them and ask them, what do you want to be in life? What type of man do you want to marry? Some of them will just be giving you like just a good man, a God-fearing man. But when you look at all those things, you see that there is no the person is not, there's no purposeful thought, in all those their criteria. So anybody that is trying to hinder you from living out your talent, being the best of who you want to be, one, that person shouldn't be in your life, because definitely you're not going to be happy. That's why we see a lot of broken marriages today, people realizing themselves in the marriage. You see somebody, you married someone, and in the marriage, you're realizing that this person is not going to help you to achieve your dream. So some of this realization shouldn't be done in marriage, should be done before the marriage. So when you're dating or you're in a relationship with someone and that person is trying to stop you from, living out the way you want to live, especially if it is a good talent, you should walk away, because definitely you're not going to be happy in that union. You're not going to support anything to humanity. Remember, every human being is a co-redemptorist. Every gift given to you by God is for humanity. There's a purpose God gives that to you. There are singers that when they sing, in fact, there's this particular guy that when he's singing in church, I feel as if to say God gave him that voice because of me. Because he will sing, he will lift you will be in the third heaven if there's a place like that. You will just be so happy. You see that this person is not just, God gave the person the voice, not just for himself, but for others. So when you're not living out your purpose, there are souls that will be perishing. So nobody should ever consider that type of relationship. There are some things I believe that we shouldn't even pray about. When you're seeing a red flag, there's no need killing yourself, praying over it. You just walk away and look for the person that is best for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dob. In fact, the point you made about red flag is very important. Let me just highlight it a bit. Sometimes many people don't pay attention to the signs of incompatibility. The signs of incompatibility is this, that two of you are in a relationship, you are in a courtship, and you have agreed that, both of you have agreed that you are going to marry each other. And there are signs. For example, the person is a jealous type, or the person is over-dependent. He or she doesn't want to work. He or she depends on you. You are not married already, and it's becoming like that. It could be in form of character. The person is insulting. The person has been bullying you. He said, okay, when I eventually get married to him, he will stop. He will change. The person that doesn't change when both of you are dating, is it when you're married that he or she will change? Sometimes those signs of incompatibility, the red flags, people don't pay attention to them. They think that miracle will happen or the person will suddenly change when the marriage begins. Ab initio, when you discover that, you begin to ask yourself a question: am I really ready to deal with this? If yes, then when you enter into the marriage, do not complain. It should be something that we should think about. When you begin to see such signs of incompatibility, you said, no, I'm not going to continue. That's the first point. Then the second point is, the question I like asking is, what are the things that bring young people together? When you call somebody your friends, what did you see in that person for you to consider him or her your friend? Is it because the person is beautiful? When a young man sees a beautiful lady, he say, I'm going to befriend her. Let us become friends. Or when a young lady sees a handsome, tall man, you say, I want to make this person my friend. And friendship begins. Is that the kind of thing that should bring you people together? What about personal values? The person you call your friend, how is he or she impacting your life positively? What are you really learning from this person you call your friend? Bible says that iron sharpens iron. Your friend should sharpen you spiritually, morally, otherwise. Not even, we shouldn't even go to the point whereby the person is preventing you to develop yourself positively. Your friend should help you become better. He or she shouldn't diminish your values. Rather, he or she should add to your values. The person should help you develop. If your friend is not helping you to develop, then that's not a good friend. You shouldn't have such a friend. Thank you once again, Mrs. Adobe Hero, for your own contribution to the question. All right, Mr. Peter, you can now speak, you can react before we conclude. I don't know why many of us are quiet, but that's okay. Mr. Peter, go ahead.
Okay,
I'd like to say something. Okay.
sorry, the network kicked me out. Um, I, I think Adobe, I came in when she was speaking, and she rightly said what I had. Anyone who has no positive contributes to my life cannot stay around.
Your network is still bad, Mr. Peter.
The reason is that it gets kind, and okay, a kind beget kind. That if you ever desire to go to become anything, anybody, anything reasonable in life, those around you has a great impact and role to play. And when you live or stay around people who don't think, in the same direction with you, it will be difficult for you to grow, because many conversation you have with them will stay with you. It forms your mind, goes into your subconsciousness. And I am very careful of what I hear and every information that I receive, whatever discussion I have with people, because that is what forms your thoughts, and that automatically, affects your actions. So, and if I stay with people who don't have like minds, definitely, there will always be one issue or the other. So I made that decision long ago. So I know them by what the person do to herself, effort he or she is making, to grow herself. So when I meet people, what attracts me first of all must be what is the effort the person making for herself, not even for me. So the effort the person makes for herself shows you that this person, has, has somewhere the person is going. And that can likely become the possibility of at least sitting down to discuss and become friends. So for me, anyone who is not making positive contributions to your life does not deserve to be a friend. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for that point. Mrs. Chizobo, okay, all right. You want to speak? Unmute yourself.
Yes. Good evening once again, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, talking about personal development. I'll just keep in using one point from what Mr. Peter said during his speech. Talking about mentorship. In personal development, mentorship is very important. It's one thing that actually helped me to grow, and I also advise young people to also key into that. Not just anyone, but someone who actually has actually achieved or had a basic success in maybe your area of interest, or something which you aspire to be, or someone who you have seen work, just like Mr. Peter rightly said now about having a purpose in life and knowing where you want to go to. So you've seen people who have already reached that goal, or almost at the process of reaching the goal. Young people need to have mentors. It helps you to moderate some certain behaviors, some certain decisions you're making in life. When you are about to do something, you can actually ask questions about what to do. Just like Mrs. Adobe said, that the issue of marriage today, we're having a lot of people walking in and out of marriage, let me put it that way, because they don't take advice from the people who have been in the marriage, or they don't even look up to the marriage of our parents. Let me put it that way. You see someone that will say, after all, it was in the olden days, not in our time. No, mentorship actually shapes your life and makes you go the right way, and also shapes you towards your God-given purpose and talent. So that's all I have to say. So I'm basically talking about mentorship. It's very, very important. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me throw this question to us, probably to you, Mrs. Chizoba. What criteria or qualities can a young person look out for in choosing a mentor? We are talking about mentorship. Can any kind person be a mentor? Who and who
No,
should be mentors to young persons? What do you think, Mrs. Owoke, or any other person?
oh, okay. Not everyone should be one's mentor. Just like I said, you look out of the things your purpose in life, maybe your talent, someone who loves fashion. If you want to get a mentor in fashion, you have to look for someone who is doing it well, not just a tailor, but a fashion designer who is doing it well, to follow that footstep, step by step, and let the person mentor you into what to do. Not just anybody you see, maybe because the person smiles at you or something. Okay, let me use myself for example. My mentor now is a researcher. Because I love research, I had to go in and follow his footsteps, one step at a time. So you look out for one, the person's Christian life. Because one thing about life is that if there is no God, just like you said, if there is no God, whatever thing you're doing, you're just wasting your time. So the person's Christian life also matters a lot. Then the person's moral life, because some people might tell you they are Christians, but their behavior is different. So the person's value, does it correspond with your own value too, your own value system? Then the purpose you are looking for in life, does the person has that purpose too? The person have the same purpose as you, then the person can be your mentor because you are heading somewhere.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Your contribution is well appreciated. Mr. Peter, unmute yourself,
Okay,
please.
all right. I think personally, I don't have one mentor. I have different mentors depending on areas. So I have a spiritual director who, oversees over my spiritual life. And if you come to career like business, I have those I look up to, that I follow their footsteps in the area of business and management. Then if you come to the area of public speaking, for instance, there are those I look up to, an individual I look up to that I follow the person, footsteps. So it is essential, one, we understand that a mentor may not necessarily be somebody you can have personal closeness. Someone can mentor you even from afar. I reached out to somebody I know, somebody I valued, to mentor me 3 years ago. 3 years ago. So after speaking to him, he asked me to pay 360,000. And I ran away because by then I couldn't afford it. So what I did was to go. He's a good writer. He has written a lot of books. So I ordered for every book he has ever written. So I bought those books and began to read. I began to read them, but I've read virtually every book he has written. So recently, it was the end of last year, he came into Enugu for an event, for a training. So I was in that training. After that, we met, I greeted him, we exchanged pleasantries, and we left. So from then, but I had to go design a gift for him. I designed a gift for him, and was a mock cup. Designed a mock cup for him and gave him that mock cup. I told him I appreciated him for the impact he has made in my life through his books. He hasn't forgotten that was the time I met him, for mentorship and all of that. So that was November last year. So we began communicating from since then. Since then, we built that relationship and all of that. So last 2 months, we came to Enugu again from Lagos, for an event here in Enugu, and we met and we were discussing. And I raised the issue of mentorship to him, and he gladly accepted and told me that that mock-up I gave to him in November last year was what he has been using to drink tea every morning. And because of that, he has seen my level of passion and zeal, and he can agree to mentor me. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes we build relationship. Most times, people who seek mentorship seek to get. We don't seek to, monetize even relationship or mentorship most of the times. Those you want to call your mentor, 2 days, I've started calling the person for please, can you send me 5,000 naira, my this and my that. So there are rules to mentorship, and even your mentor too has a need. And when you follow certain rules in mentorship, you will be able to get the person. And not just stalking the person, but knowing that there are principles one must follow to be able to. Mentorship are different. The need of our time, our lives. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Someone asked a question. We have 2 questions here. Let me begin the last one. Please, how and where do we find good mentors? I think the question has been answered. First of all, you ask yourself, what actually do I want from this mentor? Mrs. Uwoke made the point that if, for example, you are a hairdresser looking for a mentor, you don't go and look for a mentor outside that profession. You look for a good hairdresser. So where can you find a good hairdresser? In the context of that area, I mean, someone that is a good dresser that you know, it could even be online, not necessarily someone you have physical contact with. That's for example, maybe in the area of education, in the intellectual life, those in the academics, you look for a mentor in the academic field. You don't go and look for a mentor outside the academia. You go and be looking for a mentor maybe in the context of, in the economic sector or all of that. So where can you find a mentor? First of all, identify what you want, then look for a mentor within that area, within that sphere. That's my own comment on that. You can respond to that question to Mr. Mba or any other person before we go to the second question. So by and large, you find a mentor within your field, within your field. It could be online. It could be, in fact, in our own generation, internet has made a lot of things easy. It has made a lot of things easy. People usually find mentors via online, someone that can help you become better, someone that can develop your own talents in your own field. There's a question from Mr. Innocent. Parents, church, education, formal and informal of the society. Which of the above has the greatest influence on singles and personal development, and why? I would like to respond to this. First and foremost, your parents. The parents are the primary educators. First and foremost, our parents. Whatever we don't learn in the family and we learn it outside, It's not really going to be whatever we don't learn in the family, we find it difficult to learn outside. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that the family is the domestic school for every child. The family helps us to become better. Parents help their children to become better. But the problem we have now is that many parents no longer have time for their children. Many parents are busy with their career and they have failed in their parental responsibility. The Catechism of the Catholic Church says that the family is the domestic church, domus ecclesia. It is in the family that every young person should first learn about God, learn about morals, learn how to develop himself or herself. So the family is primary, is number one. Now we now talk about church. When we go to church, we listen to the priest, we listen to the minister. What the priest says in the church makes a great impact, because, of course, in our Catholic theology, a priest is another Christ. A priest acts in persona Christi in capite, in the person of Christ the head. So when a priest preaches, we see Christ talking to us. So that helps us to listen, to take the priest as our mentor. It helps us the words of the priest become more impactful to us. So there is that connection between the family and the church. So if you lose it in the family and lose it in the church, then the society will become a waste, a place uh, where people who have lost it, where we find people who have lost it. So it is important for us to build our family. It is important for us to to carry out our role, our responsibility in the church. That helps us to become better person. So apart from the family and the church, we now talk about our immediate environments, which could be our place of work. Then we talk about school and all of that. I'm not giving a kind of priority or something like a hierarchy of the level of development more. But the points I'm making is that this is how it flows, and this is how it ought to flow from the family, the church, the school, and society. That is not, I'm not in a way making a gradation of that, but to tell us to pay more attention to our own family. So young people, when you have your own family, pay attention to your family. Do not let career keep you away from carrying out your parental responsibility. All right, Mr. Mba, you can respond to that question. Mr. Adobe is raising hands. Okay, let's hear from
Okay.
Mr. Adobe, then Mr. Pitamba. We conclude for tonight. Mr. Adobe, you are
Okay.
raising hands.
Yes. Thank you very much, Father, for the opportunity. I still want to talk more on the sponsor stuff that they talked about. One is that for every young person to get a sponsor, you must know yourself. You have to take time to discover who you are. Because if you don't know yourself, it will be very difficult for you to get a sponsor. Because the work of the sponsor is to solidify what you have in you already, not like to put a new thing in you. So bringing it down to the church, just like during marriage, there is a provision, the church in her wisdom provided intending couples the opportunity to have marriage sponsors. And when you look at it, you see that what is happening in our society now, people misunderstand or misuse that opportunity. You see people choosing people that are rich. Some people choose. I know of someone that wanted to choose people should I say divorcee? They are separated. The couple are separated. And when I was discussing with the girl, she said that she wants them to be their sponsor. So I was like, they are separated and you want to bring them just to come to the church and be your sponsor for what? Because of money, you know? So when you look at people like that, you know that they don't even really know what they want. So I will encourage every young person, take time, you know, invest in yourself, take time to study, to know who you are. That will help you to come up with the right sponsor for you. And in marriage, intending couples, the young persons here, before you get married, sit down with your partner. Identify what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths, what are your purpose. Do you want your marriage to last? Do you want commitment? Do you want faithfulness? You know, come up with some of these things. Then use that as a yardstick to choose a sponsor. Because if we are having good sponsors in our marriages today, I don't think what we are seeing now will be seeing it. We have sponsors that are not committed to marriages. We have sponsors that are just, you know, they are just there for, as ceremonial sponsors. You just see them on the wedding day. They will come there, donate money, and when the marriage is in shambles, they will be nowhere to be found. People choose sponsors that don't even have good, you know, good marriage background. And I think, Father, there is also need for the church to be considering this. When people come to, you know, when people want to marry and they present their sponsors, with what is happening now, the church should also scrutinize those people. Know if they are people that are strong enough to be mentors to others. Because if we have good people as sponsors, some of these things we are hearing now, we will not be hearing it. I know for marriage, they have separated, they have scattered, they have done nothing, and the sponsor is not even aware. When the lady was telling me, I was like, you wedded in the church, so who are your sponsors? He said, forget those ones, is it not? You know, I said, you see, had it been you choose people that you can talk to, you can walk up to when the problem was still in the bottom stage, you would have walked up to them, explained to them, they will support you, they will help you. That is if they have what it takes to support you. So this mentor that we are talking about is very, very important. But first, as a young person, you have to know who you are, identify yourself, find your purpose in life before you start looking for someone that will help you solidify what you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Adobe. God bless you. Mr. Peter, over to you.
All right. Parents, church, and education, formal and informal, or the society, which above has the greatest influence in single and personal development. Okay. The family, as Father has said, has a very great influence, or greatest influence. Why? Because in the earlier of my speech, I said that from 0 to 25 years is what I call discovery and learning, you know, a stage or phase of life. And the child at this time begins life with parents. From 0 to 8, 9, 10 years. And the parent who has lived with this child should be able to find out the potentials and the abilities the child has. You know, just as Father equally said that most times a lot of parents don't pay care attention to the abilities or the talents or the giftings of these children because a lot of them are abused. But we should be able to discover them because those potentials speaks, you know, in those children. And it is easier and faster to discover and develop them when they are young. You'll be able to mold them and they'll be able to grow faster than when we have grown. A lot of us are struggling now, trying to meet up with this, meet up with that. Why? Because you are trying to discover these things when you have filled your mind with so many distractions and when you are occupied, engaged with so many activities. But there are times when the child is quite younger and you'll be able to mold the child. When I was in school, I made a research on what they call alternative to formal education. As I said earlier, that's one of the greatest killer of potentials in Africa is formal education. Because the formal education we have in Nigeria is not individual-centered. It's not centered to bring forth that which is within a child. And when this is, you know, happens, you will see that, we study a course that has no relation to your personality, no relation to your innate ability, no relation to, to your potentials. And you see a lot of persons roaming around the streets, most like useless, even though they are graduates. So the parents first should discover. And, I know in Europe and maybe America and other developed countries has special schools or academics, where children can be enrolled maybe during long vacations, or go to some of these schools, like China, go to some of these schools, where those abilities are harnessed and developed when they are young. And you see, before the child gets to 12 years, and with the consistent training in those areas of the child's potential, you will see the child is most becoming a professional in that aspect. So that before the child gets to, adolescent age or into above 18 years thereabout, you see that the child is doing amazingly well already, because they have taken time to harness and nurture, the innate ability of that child. So the parent, the family play a very great role. And the other way around also, the church should play. The church should play, like in Nigeria, after schools. The only way a lot of persons hear anything called teaching or message is in the church. A lot don't go to events, they don't go to training, they don't go to, the only way they hear anything is in the church. But I'm sorry to say that our church does not have much structured plan for lay people. After catechism, baptism and the confirmation, and possibly during marriage, for those who will attend marriage course, some will jump it, and so there's no further teachings, structured teachings that can bet potentials in the church. Pentecostals are doing this marvelously well, and that is why much more of a lot of them are doing well in our society. They are making part in our society. A lot of them in the music industry, for instance, they are the one taking the center stage. Why? Because their Pentecostal churches discover, they take time to harness gifts of these individuals. They pay highly, pay to the highest of it, or to give them the training they deserve, to make them the best they can ever become. So the church should also, I'm happy also that at least this platform exists, so that we can critically begin to look at it. And possibly, it is a pity to say that you can attend church in 1 month in some parishes, and you may not get one reasonable message that can motivate you into, sorry to say this, but it's a simple reality. So you cannot get simple one sermon that can motivate you doing something, reasonable to your life. And it's a pity to say that a lot of youths are no longer interested in the church. If you come to Enugu, for instance, going to church on Sunday masses has become more of a ceremonial. But when you go to Pentecostal church, you see heavy loads of youths. If you host a program, for instance, if this program is hosted by Pentecostals, we will have nothing less than 300 persons. But our members don't have interest in it. Why? Because we are not taught. We are not taught. Nobody. There's no clarity. People don't have motivation for it. Why? Because we listen to the mother church. Mother church is the voice we hear, and you really hear anything that has to do with self-development most of the times from most of our priests. So on that, many persons don't have the idea. So on that also, I believe maybe as time goes on, we'll begin to host this much more in the church. And I attended an event here in Enugu, hosted by William Fuchemba. William Fuchemba hosted a tech and entrepreneurship summit. It was last year and including this year. It began last year. And we have over 12,000 youths in attendance from different parts of Nigeria. 12,000 youths. And what he did is that he brought people from different fields of life, those in tech and all that, who spoke and to people. And he used himself this year. He used himself and as an example to preach to the youths the impact and the need it is for one to know Christ. So what I'm trying to say in this sense that our church should adopt into self-developmental teachings that can motivate our youth into growth and personal development. Then the society we give back to the society based on what we have. So it is what we have developed to become, what we have grown to become, that we give back to society. So anyone expecting from the society may not go far. Why? Because the society is taking from you instead of giving you back. And our educational system does not make much impact again. So we have currently in Nigeria a lot of academics that are much more into capacity building. There may not be more, because a lot of knowledge we gain from institutions, higher institutions, are outdated informations. So when you graduate from university, you cannot get a job. You cannot get anything useful with knowledge you gain from university, because the knowledge you get there is outdated information. So when they graduate, they enroll into academics and other capacity building institutions to enable them gain essential knowledge and relevant knowledge per time to enable them become useful in the society. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Peter, thank you for your comments, the response to the question. Yeah, but I want to highlight that more points on the church not doing much to empower young people. I will tell you that the church is really trying her best. Let me give you an example. Of course, it's not something general. I actually feel sad when some people say that the church should do this, the church should do that, everything, they put it on the head of the church. The one that the church is doing, are people really paying attention? Some time ago, a young lady sent me a message. She said that, Father, when it comes to dating, organizing program for young people so that they can meet, have good relationship and all of that. The church should organize such program. That we find that more in the Pentecostal churches. In the Catholic Church, we don't find program that bring young people together so that they can establish relationship among themselves. The person said that to me. I said, okay, something that I'm going to reflect. I think about that. I came up with program for Catholic Singles Forum with regards to having, something we may call networking, a program that will bring them together to know each other and all of that. The person that sent me that message wasn't there. The person wasn't there. The person had not been active in that platform. We often hear statements like that, that the church is not doing it, the church is not doing that. In many parishes, in many dioceses, the church organizes program for young people. But sometimes we don't see them. It's not even as if that the church is not doing anything. The church is doing something great for young people. Example, we have World Youth Day. World Youth Day started by Pope John Paul II. Every pope continues with that. Last one was there in Portugal. We have thousands of young people that attended and all of that. In some dioceses, we have a empowerment program for young people, whereby young people learn skills. Okay, I agree with you that the church should do more, but that does not mean that the church is not doing. I feel sad when the church organizes program for young people and we don't see them. I'm speaking from experience, Mr. Peter. I'm speaking from my own experience. You can see in what we are doing at Catholic Singles Forum. We organize program. I will do the design. I will definitely do the sharing. I'll be begging people, begging young people, come and learn. Come and learn. And you find that in other places, sometimes the priest even gets tired, gets discouraged. What is happening? What is happening? And you see that the young persons who no longer pay attention to what is happening in the church, the person will now go to the music industry, go to the society, and start saying that the church is not doing this or that. As a church, sure, we keep on doing what we are doing and will not get tired. But young people often disappoint the mother church. Young people often disappoint. Someone told me that nowadays, young people, the interest of young people is not in what, it's not about prayer, teaching, and all of that. They want to make money, bet Niger, go and do bet, go to social media now. You see the way people talk about betting. This we are in a sports season, you know. Many young people have invested a lot in betting because they want to make fast money. They want to make quick money. But when you organize program for development, programs that will help develop their talent, sometimes you don't see them. Many of them are not longer interested in hearing. They want to go where things are happening. They want to go where things are happening. And I'm sorry to say that when you find a church where you find miracles and all of that, that's where you begin to see a lot of young people because they want miracle. But when they want where they will learn what will help develop them, develop their gifts and all of that, you don't see many of them. So as a church, what shall we do? Shall we cross our legs and say, I'm not? Let me tell you this. At a point, I started getting discouraged with this apostolate for young people. I say, can you imagine? I invested my time, I did the design, I did this, I came up with this program. We started a program, I saw only 2 or 3 people. Mr. Abba, Peter, you saw that. I said to myself, maybe I can't continue with this. I can't continue with these young people. They are getting on my nerves. Let me use my time and do something else. It is part of what we are saying now, Mr. Peter, that sometimes the church tries, but young people are not responding. But I assure you that I will not get tired, I will not get discouraged. And those that are part of this Catholic singles apostolate, God bless you all. We are not going to get tired. We keep on doing our best. But by and large, the church is trying her best. The thing is that we need to intensify our efforts. That's the way I put it, that the church should intensify her efforts. The Catholic Church should intensify her efforts in evangelizing young people, in organizing development programs, empowerment program, events for young people. Sure, we need to intensify our efforts. It's not that we are not doing, we are doing a lot and we keep on doing that. There is a program organized by Abuja Archdiocese about music talents, where once in a year, young people who have talents in music are invited for competition and all of that. That is a way to build their talent. I will leave it here. My friends, members of Catholic Saints Forum, all the participants of this program, please take note of this, that young people, we are the future of the church. We are the future of the society. We need to put in our best to develop the society. And it has to begin with ourselves. Develop ourselves and develop those around us. So please, I beg you, whenever we organize program for singles, do well to invite others. Do well to share. Assuming it's a program that has to do with Bet Niger, how to make money, how to do this, you see people distributing the flyer and all of that. But when it comes to helping yourselves and things that have to do with your personal development, you see that lethargy. That's what I see more among young people, especially members of Catholic Singles Forum. I see that lethargy, that indifferentism. I don't care. I don't care. It's not my own. I mean, it is not good. I want us to change. Personally, I don't feel happy about that when I don't see the zeal, when I don't see the zeal in being part of the forum, the projects, the apostolates, the ministry for young people. When I don't see the zeal from young people and I see that zeal only on the part of the leaders, I think that we can do better than this. Once again, I appreciate Mr. Peter for his excellent presentation. We thank God for the gifts he has given to you. You have that gift of speaking, that when you speak, people listen, people hear, and they put into practice what to speak. Once again, we thank you for being part of this program and for the wisdom which you have shared with us. This night, we really drank from the bowl of your wisdom. Thank you and God bless you. I thank all our contributors, especially those who are not singles who joined. We have Mrs. Adobe Hero, one of the coordinators of Catholic Singles Forum, a member of Catholic Marriage Forum. Thank you, Mrs. Adobiro. I also appreciate Mrs. Chizoba Obuoke, who made time to be part of this program. Mrs. Chizoba, thank you for coming and thanks for supporting Mr. Mba. I mean, through your contribution, your comment, and many others who I can't. Okay, Mr. Innocent, thank you, Mr. Innocent, coming from Catholic Marriage Forum to be part of this program. Thank you. And all our wonderful members of Catholic Singles Forum, I can see few of you here. Thank you. God bless you. I also appreciate my friends who are not part of the Catholic Singles Forum, but who I sent the flyer to and they joined. We have Ifunanya, that's Darren. Darren that joining us from Dallas, US. Thank you for joining. Immediately I sent the flyer to her. She said that she was going to be part of this program and she's here. Thank you, Darenda. I appreciate Chinazo too. I sent the message, the flyer to her this night. She saw it and she joined. She joined from Canada. Thank you. And others that I can't mention their names. When I see you, I feel happy and I am encouraged. Thank you and God bless you all. This program is being streamed live on YouTube. I'll share it from the YouTube to our platform. The announcement I want to make before we take the final prayer is that we are going to have a program on the 16th and 17th of October. That program is a workshop on natural family planning. Of course, we know that that program is going to be a paid program. The introduction is going to be free, but the other sessions, which will take place twice a week, will be paid. The facilitators are the Sisters of the Medical Missionaries of Mary. The program will help every young person to understand what natural family planning is, how it works, okay? And also those that have issues when it comes to their menstrual cycle, period, and all of that will be able, the facilitators will help and guide you on how you can become better, how you can live a healthy sexual life. The flyer will be sent when it is ready. Thank you all and God bless you all. I want to acknowledge my sister who joins, Dr. Mrs. Njideka Ayontayo. I sent the program to her this night and she is here. Thank you. She is my elder sister for those who don't know her. Dr. Ayontayo, may we hear your voice, please? Unmute yourself and say hi to us. All right, or maybe she can't hear me.
Hello, good evening, all.
All right, good evening.
Thank
Doctor,
you,
God bless
my
you.
brother, Reverend Father Tedes. You're doing a great job. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed the program, and I will be happy to always enjoy all your programs. That have been educative, and I've really learned a lot. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Join me to say thank you to Mr. Peter Mba.
Okay, Mr. Peter Mba, thank you so much. You're a good teacher. That talent is you. Please continue to harness it and continue to use it. We enjoyed your teachings. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, friends. We now take the closing prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God, our Father, we thank you in a very special way for our presentation, for our conference tonight. I hand into your precious hands all the members of Catholic Singles Forum and all young people out there. Lord, I pray that you may bless them. I pray that you may protect them. Keep them free from every harm. I pray that you may bless their future, bless their destiny, bless the work of their hands, and may they prosper in everything they lay their hand upon. I pray, O Lord, that you may help them to develop, help them to build their moral life, their spiritual and their financial life. That after a life well spent on earth, we all shall see you face to face in heaven. I present their various challenges and worries and troubles into your hands. I pray that you may help them to overcome the troubles they encounter in life. And may your joy always be their strength. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
And may Almighty God bless you, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Father. Thank you so much, Father.
Thank you.